Fallout Equestria, Child of the Stars, Chapter 6, Part 2. Sublevel 1, the first of the signs read. Well, this was going to be so much fun if the stairs leading downward were in all different locations. The sublevel 2 stairs were indicated straight ahead by a large red arrow down a lengthy, dilapidated corridor. Yay, so much fun, I mentally groaned, tiredly drawing the saddle blaster. Cherry was, as always, close behind me. Her eyes were looking over every darkened corner and shadow, timidly holding her shotgun ready within a glowing green field of magic. I really hoped that she had the instinct to use my far better gun if she needed it, but for now, I decided to leave it to her own judgment. The dark gloom ahead was unnerving, my dread only further reinforced by the battered remnants of several robots long since destroyed by gunfire. As I trotted cautiously into the corridor, I noticed that the walls bore the scars of an intense firefight, and even some explosives. To our left corridor widened, making space for a row of shattered glass display cabinets. Besides the metal skeletons of what had once been shown here, there was nothing but shattered glass and rusted plaques. One case held what appeared to be a severed wing, another a similarly mutated unicorn horn, yet under closer inspection, it was clear both were actually metallic replicas of such body parts, stopping my ideas on the sickness of pre-war pony kind from dropping to a whole new level of disgust. Behind the row of cabinets against the far left wall was a life-size model of a Pegasus. Wait, on a unicorn? Alicorn? Both the wings and horn looked artificial just like those in the cabinets, and both were also strapped to the equine mannequin via a strange vest-like device and smooth helmet. A faded poster behind the display asked in bright orange text, "Have you ever wondered what it's like? In our brighter futures, you need wonder no more." I raised an eyebrow at that, and if anything, that message just triggered my warning alarms. "Have you ever wondered?" An overly cheerful voice suddenly boomed to my right. Both Cherry and I jumped like frightened fillies as a dusty screen lit up on the opposite wall. "Have you ever pondered how a Pegasus really flies or the secret to unicorn magic? These mysteries and more will soon be unraveled. Here at Destiny Corporation, our dedicated scientists are hard at work looking into what really makes you a pony, for what makes all of us ponies." The voice boomed again in a cheerful tone painfully reminiscent of Foggy's. Only this one wasn't tiny and broken. The vocal tones and volume sounded far too cheerful and excited, considering that the entire industry was intended to make each tribe feel inferior about their tribe's abilities and selling artificial prosthetics to those who could afford their technology. I could feel my sudden panic begin to fade as I watched the image on the screen. At least it isn't a monster, I assured myself as a steel-gray Pegasus appeared on the screen. She reared up with a majestic flap of her wings before running out to the frame, and a lime-green unicorn mare appeared in the same spot with a flash from her horn, performing an identical pose and then following the Pegasus. "The Destiny Corporation, building a brighter future for every last mare, stallion, and foal." That was the last thing to sound from the screen, accompanied by the image of the corporation's logo, the words appearing in a flash and lingering within a tail of a comet. Below it appeared the image of a family, a mare, stallion, and a small foal, all gazed up at the cosmic spectacle in awe. Then, with a dull whimper, the image cut out. I just shook my head. All those stupid ponies back then with all this stupid shit, they thought they could make a reality? A brighter future? They sure fucked that one up. I looked back at Cherry, who, besides being scared half to death, had focused her attention on a glass display cabinet, the one boasting the metal Pegasus wing. Shivering slightly, she raised a hoof to wipe the dust from the plaque upon its front. "Pegasus telekinesis," she read, her tone skeptical. "What is really just a wing beat away?" Looking to my left, my eyes fell upon a cabinet containing the artificial unicorn horn. "Spells, or merely instinct?" the topmost title of its plaque asked. I almost found that insulting, and of course, we had to learn spells, casting fire from my horn. That was not something I could just do. Yet every unicorn could use telekinesis as far as I knew. I felt a combination of distaste and caution from the idea, and a subtle fear as to what it might mean silently in my mind. And then I moved over to the Pegasus wing. Have you ever wondered how a Pegasus flies or controls the weather? How can a Pegasus wing not only support the weight of a full-grown pony, but also propel its host forward with enough velocity to gain a hurricane or ascend into the clouds? Cutting-edge research has revealed that with each flap of a Pegasus wing, a weak telekinetic field is generated around the pony, reducing their weight and allowing flight. Here at Destiny Corp, we aim to unlock the source of innate magic that flows through not only Pegasi, but all ponies. The Destiny Corporation strives towards building towards a brighter future for every mare, stallion, and foal. I had no desire to read the neighboring unicorn plaque after that. To think that my horn was no different from some pony's wing was ridiculous. Even if I had always thought Pegasus had small wings. I already had a bad feeling about this place, but it somehow got even worse once we found this display. I couldn't shake the horrific mental image of some mangled mash of ponies and metal limbs crawling about downstairs. I even wondered if things ponies claimed to be the goddesses were made here, though I didn't believe that rumor either. I tried not to let my uneasy demeanor show as I looked to Cherry, who was still pondering the implications of a metal wing. "If you got it to work and found another, could you..." she mused, trailing off as she placed a hoof on the thick wall of glass, separating us from the wing. "What, fly? I wouldn't try it," I told her cautiously. Having no knowledge of any flying earth ponies before the war, I assume this project has never really been finished. Cherry glancing over to the unicorn display case, her sudden movement setting off the speakers and video again. This time it startled me more than the eager pink unicorn, as she eagerly began reading the second plaque. Unfortunately for my companion, however, this second set of information had not fared quite so well over the years, leaving her with only half of the ambitious ramblings. Something about primal magic within all living things. A ridiculous idea that I shook from my mind as I'd done to others. Cherry, on the other hoof, seemed content to ramble on about it. I made no effort to stop her, however, simply glad to hear her voice openly about something. In the rooms that followed there were more display cases, most of which were empty, and two more mannequins, one of an earth pony and the other of a unicorn, lay toppled on the final room, as well as one last display cabinet, the likes of which was also shattered open. Glass crunched under my hooves as I reached the room's far wall. As I peered at the obliterated display case before me, a forehoof caught on something, a stone tablet or a piece of one at least. It didn't take me long to deduce that this one had been displayed within the ruined case ahead. The accompanying plaque was concealed on its downward face, not that I was interested in reading any more nonsense these lunatics had cooked up. I kicked the tablet on its front and saw a vast array of patterns etched onto its gray surface. Towards the top was a lower half of what appeared to be a multi-pointed star, surrounded by a triangle of three smaller stars, each with their own orbiting sparkles. Below it sat many pony-like figures, yet it was hard to tell exactly what they were. Some were bowing, others were fighting with what appeared to be spears in their muzzles. Earth ponies, then? Maybe even zebras? I also snickered at that. The idea that any pony would put anything related to them in a display case back then was among one of the most absurd things, I thought. With that, I kicked the tablet aside. Maybe the thing was cursed. If so, this ghost certainly wasn't hard at work cleaning up this area. "See, it is horse apples," I told my mind, firmly backing that theory Buckshot's tale had spawned. As I moved on, Cherry stopped and curiously peered down at the stone tablet before setting down her weapon and levitating it up to inspect. "I wouldn't mess about with that stuff if I were you," I suggested before falling silent. "Horse apples? Really, Dragonfire?" my mind questioned wryly. "I'm not goddess damn superstitious." "Couldn't we sell it?" she asked optimistically, and I raised an eyebrow. "Do you know that metal is probably worth more?" I stated, pointing a hoof back at the previous cases and the metal body parts within. And Cherry glanced back. "You'd be surprised," she explained thoughtfully. Looking back to the tablet, she deliberately rotated it into her magic. My look once again became curious. I knew at least some part of her was motivated to prove herself to me even if I didn't want her to. And second, I didn't see her as the type of pony who'd buck century-old glass cases just to get at some scraps. Okay, I could be wrong. With the flare of her horn, Cherry thrust the butt of her shotgun into one of the cases, shattering it on the second strike and looting its contents. Without hesitation, she started on the second one. As timid as she was, I had a feeling I'd picked up a pony with a clear knack for salvage, and if her bartering skill was as good as she claimed, then I wasn't surprised that she wasn't running her own trader town or something. One more thing I don't have to teach her, I noted, amusedly wondering whether I could get any tips from her for a change. "I reckon I'll get some pony to fall in love with these," she explained eagerly, hefting the extra weight in her saddlebags. I merely nickered as kindly as I could. She frowned, but I swiftly salvaged the situation. "You sell that thing and maybe you can manage all of our finances," I offered, without hinting that after her claim back in town, I planned to have her doing most of the bartering from now on anyway. And she smiled, seeming to take that as a challenge as she retrieved her shotgun. The slow emergence of her true character was enough to send my mind swimming with pride amongst other things. I turned back to the corridor to find the tattered ruins of a poster hanging from the wall at its end. Leading the charge against the unknown was what the bold yellow letters claimed from beneath their coat of the sandy dust. Yep, that ghost was literally just pony feathers. To my right was the dark gloom of another long corridor, and to my left was a set of double doors and a site declaring this to be the stairwell to sublevel 2. The doors were unexpectedly unlocked, and the large blast cover was retracted above them. I kept a wary eye on it as I passed underneath, shoving the doors open, and finding myself at the top of yet more stairs. The metal framework underhoof seemed sturdy enough, as did the rails, and the walls were comprised of enough concrete and bricks, and, unlike the desert-exposed chambers above, an unnerving chill hung over the gloom. I gave a shiver as I imagined the ghosts of the dead in this place touching or passing through me. There's no such thing as ghosts, I mentally reprimanded myself as I began to descend. Then I heard the doors close behind us, and Sherry followed.